Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, post-match. Stefanos Tsitsipas versus Jannik Sinner, Australian Open 2022 quarterfinal. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Stefanos Tsitsipas remains undefeated in major quarterfinals, and he is now in the semifinal in Melbourne, a feat that was looking very unlikely for a long time, especially at the beginning stages of the ATP Cup when he was pulling out of singles matches because of the elbow issues, saying that he wasn't sure if he was ever going to make it to this event. And then in the first couple rounds, not playing well at all against Taylor Fritz, going down 2-1, and it seemed like something clicked into place in the fourth and fifth sets against Taylor Fritz. And boy, was this a continuation of that, as Stefanos Tsitsipas with an ominous performance against Jannik Sinner. So let's get into this one, beginning with, I think, one of the big keys, which is Tsitsipas never letting this match become about his backhand. It was pretty irrelevant. It wasn't bad by any means, but Tsitsipas just didn't need his backhand very much. And if that would be the case every match, I think Stefanos would be pretty content, because that serve, that forehand, the volleys, the movement, these are the things that make Tsitsipas an incredible player. If you can take the backhand completely out of the equation, all the better. And Tsitsipas did that here with a couple things. First of all, amazing footwork, amazing runaround movement. He hit so many forehands from the backhand side of the court. He's incredibly quick and very, very precise with his footwork when he hits that shot. It's difficult to read where he's going with that forehand. Generally, the forehand is more effective from that side of the court. But there's also a key here that I think is underrated, which is that when you run around your backhand to hit a forehand, you obviously, if you're a righty, you leave the deuce side of the court, the forehand side of the court, open. And you can leave yourself vulnerable, and that can make a player gun shy about actually running around their backhand. And if they don't hit a great shot, they could be in trouble because they have that open court. Tsitsipas is so fast and so skilled defensively on his forehand side. He's almost always able to make up that ground. And that also enables him to hit with margin on his inside out and inside in forehands, because he knows if he makes it not quite good enough to finish the point, it's not like he's toast. Against a player, against some of the other players, or some of the other players like I guess a Rublev or a Berrettini, two players who really want to hit a lot of inside out and inside in forehands. They're not going to recover as well if they don't make it great, or if their opponent, like one of a great counter punching opponent, is able to chase a ball down and counter strike into the open court. So Tsitsipas's footwork here was a big factor. It was very hard for Sinner to get the ball to the backhand. The second thing is not letting points develop on his serve. Tsitsipas hit 88% of first balls on his forehand, and what he was doing was hitting a ton of approach shots off of his first forehand. And you're not, how are you going to get the ball to Tsitsipas's backhand when all he's doing is hitting a serve and coming in on the first ball, on the first ground stroke? So if you look at the rally analysis, Tsitsipas in this match on his serve played most of the points in the 0-4 shot range. Only 5 rallies the entire match on Tsitsipas's serve was over 9 shots. And in the second set, you had an especially, which was the most crucial set of the match, I think, because Sinner at that point was still engaged and still felt like he could win it. And Tsitsipas at that stage was it was just crucial because it's the second set. Best of 5, it's always crucial. Tsitsipas won the 0-4 shot rally 17-2. He didn't win the rallies over 4 shots. He lost that subset 4-3. But can you see only a tiny amount of points actually surpassed 4 shots. And that has to do with the Tsitsipas serve, certainly. Sinner maybe missing some returns, yes. But it's also the first forehand and then the tendency for Tsitsipas to follow up that first forehand directly to the net, just not letting points develop at all. Another thing is Tsitsipas making returns in the clutch, and it also has to do with Jannik Sinner's serve. And that's why I picked Tsitsipas to win this match, because the conditions have been so serve dominant. The points have been short at this tournament. I think the conditions are speedy, and in the serve department, it's a pretty big mismatch here. Then even in the early aggression department, Sinner's pretty good, but not quite as polished as Tsitsipas when it comes to first strike tennis. Well, Tsitsipas made all the returns here when it mattered. If you look at the first set, in the game Tsitsipas broke serve. He made 6 straight returns. If you look at the second set, in the game Tsitsipas broke serve. He made all 6 returns in that game. If you look at the third set, the first game that Tsitsipas broke, he ended up getting another. He made 4 out of 5 returns to break the Jannik Sinner serve. That almost never happened on a Tsitsipas service game, because Tsitsipas not only hits his spot better, but serves bigger. And this match should serve as a reminder to everyone that Sinner still has work to do on his first serve, and he still needs to beef it up. He averaged 116 miles per hour on his first serve. And Tsitsipas is someone who struggles to return against the best servers on fast courts. Sinner doesn't really have it in him to take advantage of that. I don't think it was a particularly poor serving performance by Sinner, but the serve's just not really good enough. He's not going to get free points, and Tsitsipas was able to consistently on the other side of the coin. Now for Jannik Sinner's performance, as I began the video, obviously focusing on Tsitsipas. Sinner was not sharp in baseline rallies today, tactically speaking. He hit way too many cross-court forehands. If you let Tsitsipas settle in on his forehand side, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. I don't think I need to explain why. It's just the much stronger wing. However, you can't only hit it to his backhand either, because if you only hit it to his backhand, now you start getting runaround Tsitsipas. And I talked about that first thing in this video, how dangerous he is hitting forehands from the backhand side of the court. So what do? You make him run to his forehand, and then you change to the backhand. You change direction. You hit that forehand down the line. You never hit 2, 3 forehands cross court. It just shouldn't happen. Unless you're defending, unless Tsitsipas has hit exceptionally heavy balls that it's simply too risky to change on, you have to change the pattern there. You can never hit 1, 2. No, you can hit 1. You can't hit 2, 3, 4 cross courts in a row. You're asking for trouble there. That's called not being with it tactically. And when it comes to the backhand, you can't go cross court every time. Again, you got to hit down the line, because Tsitsipas is going to settle into his backhand corner. You're not going to take advantage of Tsitsipas's backhand, because he's not going to be under duress if you get it there. And again, you open yourself up to the inside-out forehand. So not enough moving the ball around the court from Tsitsipas in the baseline rallies. It just seemed like tactically he just wanted to kind of slug it out, and there didn't seem to be that much thought there. And that was one of the more disappointing things about Sinner's performance here. Sinner also made unforced errors on big points. I don't think that he played a sloppy match. Maybe in the third set, but certainly not in the first 2 sets. I don't think he was too sloppy. But when the big points came, he definitely didn't tighten things up. And yet he made mistakes that in spots that you just need to really bear down and play your best tennis, and he didn't. So I point to 1-1 in the second set when he was down break point and he missed a backhand cross-court trade. 5-4, Tsitsipas serving for it in the second set, 40-30. So Sinner a chance to force that game to deuce, and Sinner made an incredible return of serve, his best return of the match on this point, only to miss a forehand cross-court trade later in the rally. 1-1 in the third set, 15-40, again, Sinner needing to save these break points, and he made a forehand unforced error on another trade. So when I say trade, I mean Sinner isn't even trying to attack these balls. He's just missing rally balls. And again, he wasn't all over the place in that match, but those are the moments where the unforced errors go from, well, it happens, to kind of unacceptable. You know, on 3 of the biggest points of the match, you're just missing a routine ball. But, you know, a lot of credit to Tsitsipas here, because unforced errors, 9 apiece in set 1. They made the same number of unforced errors. And then in set 2, Sinner made less unforced errors than Tsitsipas. It was 7-11. So let me get down to it in kind of summary here. The scoreline suggests that Sinner put in a clunker here, that Sinner played terrible, that he threw it away. I wouldn't say any of those things. Sinner was dominated. Sinner had no answers. Sinner wasn't good enough. I don't think Sinner has this level in him the way Tsitsipas was playing. He's never beaten a top 5 player. I don't know that there's any evidence to say that Sinner could have won this match. And in that respect, I can't say that this was a horribly disappointing performance from him. He just isn't going to be competitive if his opponent plays as well as Tsitsipas played at this stage in his career, in my opinion, and in this matchup. Maybe there are some other matchups that can be a little bit more favorable for him. But, you know, again, dominated, yes, absolutely dominated, but was he putrid? Was he horrid? No, I don't think so. Just completely outclassed, I think, would be a better classification. On the Tsitsipas side of things, he kind of announced himself as a contender to win this 2022 Australian Open. If he is going to be that lethal on serve and that lethal on the forehand, and he's going to come forward, we'll see if he plays a bigger server, what the return looks like. He looked incredibly athletic and spry on the court after playing a tough 5-setter against Taylor Fritz. And Fritz, by the way, I think looks even a little bit better after what happened in this match. Wow. This got a lot more interesting, didn't it? In terms of the semifinal previews, I will have that video for you guys tomorrow morning. So talk to you then. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.